So San Diego's known for the beaches, for the weather. If you're thinking about moving out here, that might be some of the things that you're eyeballing, that you're looking on. But there's also some pros and cons. I was going to mention the weather today, mid-July. You can kind of see it back there. It's we're in that May, gray, June gloom, but now it's July
something.
I don't know. We don't have a name for July. But you know, it is, for the most part, it is not too humid, not too sweaty. It's pretty temperate, cools off at nights. Great place to live. But in this video, we're going to dive into the pros and cons of living right here in San Diego County, which is a big chunk of land, but we'll get into all that as well. So I'm Chris, this is Cassidy, and we make videos right here all about living in San Diego. And we're also a team of realtors right here. So if you guys are thinking about moving out, hit us up. Call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We'll hop on a Zoom call, get you dialed in, start having that conversation of, you know, where might be some good spots for you. Maybe you have some other questions that we're not covering in all our videos. So let's really dive in and get all your questions answered. Make sure when you are ready to move, you're all squared away, you're dialed in, because we got your back when making the move here to San Diego.
The first pro we're going to talk about, Chris already mentioned it a little bit, but a big reason people move out here is for the beaches. Part of that is also weather. We get to be on beaches the majority of the year. Even if it looks like this, it's still nice and warm out. The types of beaches, where beaches are at, there's a huge variety here in San Diego County. We have a ton of big, wide open, sandy beaches from Coronado, parts of Carlsbad, Oceanside, La Jolla. There's big sections where you just park, walk right onto the sand. Another one of our favorites is Cardiff, another one where you can just walk right onto the sand. A lot of the beaches that people don't know about here in San Diego are the beaches that are below bluffs. So there's big sections, Point Loma, La Jolla, Encinitas, Carlsbad. There's big sections of beaches where there
Solana Beach, parts of Del Mar.
Yep,
yeah.
That have bluffs that line the ocean there. So harder access, obviously, with stairs, a little bit more hidden, so a little less crowded. So there are just a lot of options. Obviously, some of the big beaches that are super popular. You've got PB, which is going to be probably one of the most crowded year-round. You've got Fletcher Cove in Solana Beach. You've got Moonlight Beach, which is really famous in Encinitas. You've got Ponto and Carlsbad. There are a ton of beaches to explore here in San Diego.
And with those beaches, that's kind of what controls a lot of the weather here. So while we don't have, you know, crazy hot heat, well, we do, I mean, sometimes it gets hot, but it is, you know, it's kind of like air conditioning. So that's where we get a lot of those coastal breezes. So even if you're not a beach person, you're not going to the beach, you're going to benefit from the coast, the ocean being right there. And also, it's just awesome to have, even if you're not going to the day in the sand, you're not bringing the kids out, you're not going out and having a full beach day. Like, it's cool to just go for a beach walk. There's a lot of places where you get these coastal front walks, because certain places around San Diego, you have like, well, the bluffs, so you're walking up above, you know, up above the ocean. Even going down for like sunsets, some of these little parking lots, I'm just thinking like down at Beacons over in Encinitas, you see this parking lot fill up, everybody's lined up along the, you know, along the railing right there, watching the sunset. Like, it's an attraction.
And just to add on to that, it's even just kind of calming. You know, we don't spend a lot of time on the freeway. A big part of that is I usually just go to the Coast Highway and cruise down. It's way more calm, way more relaxed. You get to see the ocean and cruise down the highway, Coast Highway, instead of being on a big freeway.
The next pro is San Diego. Even though the city of San Diego and the county of San Diego are different. So the city of San Diego is like the second largest city in California. It's the 8th largest in all of the US, but it still feels, as you're going through San Diego, it goes city to city, it goes like zip code to zip code. It feels like a small town feel. It feels like you have all these different little villages. Some of the downtown areas are actually called villages. Vista Village, you have Carlsbad Village, you have the villages of Del Mar. Like, it kind of, that's how it kind of lives. So even if you are here, you're like exploring, you're like going from North County to downtown San Diego, it's pretty big. Yeah, that's a lot of land. As you're living here, it kind of feels like a small town vibe, even though, yes, the population's a lot. There's like over 3 million people right here in San Diego County. And one real quick thing on the size of San Diego County. So San Diego County is huge. It's a lot of land, but it's basically broken up into like 3 different sections. You have the western portion. That's where you're gonna find most of the population. A lot of the cities are there. That's where the bulk of the people are living. That's probably where you're gonna live when you do move out here. The middle section is gonna be like the mountain section. So there's little tiny small towns in there that are cool to go check out. And then to the east, you have the deserts. So most people are living on the west. So even though we do have a ton of area, a lot of people are kind of squeezed into that coastal section.
And then to piggyback, our next pro is just kind of the variety of different types of cities. So if you like that big city feel, there is a whole big chunk of that metropolitan San Diego area that has that doesn't feel like a small town, that you can walk to a whole bunch of restaurants and shops and all that stuff. If you're looking for city life, San Diego definitely has that, and kind of in a bunch of different areas too. You've got spots like North Park and South Park and Hillcrest, all kind of surrounding downtown San Diego, that all kind of have that urban feel.
And one quick thing about the city of San Diego, it's the biggest portion of San Diego. It's like 1.3 million population. But the areas he's talking about is like that little metro area of San Diego. So kind of downtown San Diego, spreading out from there, we have a little bit of the walkable neighborhoods. But the city of San Diego, I'll bring it up on the map here, it actually goes quite a ways up. Some of the cities that you might be looking at houses and stuff like are actually city of San Diego. So like Mira Mesa, it even touches like a little portion of Escondido as well in the very north. But
and a section of Del Mar too.
Yeah, La Jolla is the city of San Diego. So
yeah.
A lot of those areas that you have heard about are actually the city of San Diego.
And if you're looking for just a little bit smaller, if you don't want that big city feel and you want to be out of San Diego proper, you've got spots like Chula Vista. You've got spots like Carlsbad, which are pretty big cities, but they still have kind of that little bit smaller feel, a little bit small town feel. And then there are a bunch of small towns. There's Rancho Santa Fe is under 4,000 people. Del Mar, Rancho Santa Fe proper. Del Mar is under that. There's just a bunch of little smaller communities within San Diego. And like Chris mentioned, if you go out kind of towards the mountains a little bit, you've got Alpine, you've got Ramona, you've got some of those mountain towns that tend to be smaller and definitely have that small town feel.
And with that, with all the different cities and neighborhoods and different places to live, there is a ton of variety of homes. So that's the next pro, the different styles of homes. While a lot of San Diego, yes, is going to be suburban, you're going to find a lot of areas. Well, it was all built at different times too. So this suburban area was built in the 80s. Let's go like right where we're standing right now is like an area of kind of older La Costa. And so you have that 80s style feel. Where this guy lives is San Alejo Hills. So it's like that 2000s new construction. There's some other areas. It's a little bit more of that modern construction. So even within the suburban neighborhoods, there's going to be a few different styles. But then you find some neighborhoods that maybe were a bit older. I'm just thinking to specific, like there's a neighborhood in Cardiff where it was like the 60s-ish. Mm-hmm. And over time, people have moved out, people have sold, people have built on. So you get a little bit more of that custom feel, even though it was a tract neighborhood originally.
And if you are looking for that more kind of custom feel, here in San Diego, there's a bunch of options. Encinitas, there's a community called Lucadia, which is on the kind of the northwest side. And there are a ton of custom houses, kind of any size you want. There's still some of those kind of old beach bungalows, but then there's also 5,000 square foot houses. So there's a ton of options in Lucadia. You've also got oceanfront, which is not a huge, we don't have a ton of that in San Diego County. So there is a section of Encinitas, Lucadia that have that oceanfront homes too. But then as you kind of go out a little bit further east, you've got Livin, which is also a community within Encinitas, ton of custom houses, Rancho Santa Fe. Even going up kind of in that same direction, you got Elfin Forest, Escondido. There's a lot of options for kind of that larger lot, larger house, custom neighborhoods rather than the tract neighborhoods, which is going to be the majority of what we have here.
And the last pro, not the last pro of San Diego, but the last pro we're going to cover today is the vibe of San Diego. So we actually went to lunch with somebody who moved out here from like pretty much the East Coast and just talk with them. Different, how is it out in San Diego? How you feeling? How do you settle in? All that kind of stuff. And he was saying like the vibe out here is a little different, and we have lived here our whole life, so we kind of feel it. We know what the vibe is, but I guess from coming from other places, you're actually going to feel it a little bit more. Where he was just saying, driving around, people are a lot nicer. You're not going to hear a ton of honking. People are going to let you in, and might not be great drivers when it's raining and stuff, but it is like a friendly community, and it's just more relaxed, a slower pace. He was saying like his wife moved out here, a few months ago and started a new job out here. And just the vibe from working out there to working out here, it's just a lot more chill, a lot more relaxed. That's just San Diego as a whole. Now, yeah, we work hard, we get work done. It's not that, but it's just a different feeling. It's a different vibe. And that goes through most of San Diego County.
One of the first cons, and we've all done this, we all travel. San Diego's a destination, and a lot of you have come out here for vacations, have fallen in love with it, and want to make this your home. That's awesome. But there are cons within that we do get a lot of tourism out here, kind of year-round, just because our weather is great year-round. Obviously, in those summer months, we tend to get a lot more people. But having a lot of people come here for tourism and for vacations just means added traffic. The beaches are crowded. We have something here called local summer, which is once summer is over, it's still nice and warm in like late August and September, and we have our beaches to ourselves. But a lot of that is it's just something to take into consideration when moving out here, is that during the summer months, especially in some of the more popular places like PB, downtown San Diego, if you're up in Carlsbad, that village area gets pretty crowded. So just the spots where we have amenities get crowded during the summer. We've got great amenities and things people come out here for, like the zoo, the safari park, Legoland, golf courses. There's a ton to offer here. So a lot of people do come out here and travel.
And once you do move out here, you actually might become a tourist within San Diego as well. We do a lot of staycations. We have recently, we probably take 2 or 3 staycations a year where we're going, I just went to Lawrence Welk over in Escondido recently. Go to the Omni Hotel right in Carlsbad. There's a lot of different little areas within San Diego where you're far enough away where it feels like you're somewhere else. It feels like you're on vacation, but you wake up, it's time to leave, you're 25, 30 minutes from home. So you will find those as well. You become a tourist right here in San Diego. Another con about living right here in San Diego is the insurance costs. So homeowners insurance, car insurance is relatively about where you're coming from. It's not too high, not too low. But homeowners insurance, we've seen a big spike over these past few years. A lot because some of the major providers, State Farm, Farmers, a few other big insurance companies have left California because just they couldn't increase rates enough to cover what they potentially would have to cover. So we've seen that a lot. And as we're going through the process, when clients are moving out here and we jump into escrow, that's one of the first things we're telling them, hey, start calling your insurance provider. If you have somebody, see if they are offering anything. Otherwise, we have a few brokers that can go to a bunch of different companies and give you some options as well. But we have definitely seen that come up over the past year or so.
And kind of what we're seeing for a detached house, kind of that middle size, 2,000 square feet, maybe a little bit over, kind of seeing around $2,500 per year, which is almost double of what it was maybe 2 years ago now. So it has increased a bunch, but we're really seeing kind of more issues are when there's been claims, and then also when you're close to a high fire zone or very high fire zone, especially if you're on a canyon specifically. Those costs are way up there. My folks live right on a canyon in Encinitas, and their insurance costs are almost $8,000 or something like that per year. Something right around there per year, and that's just what it is. It is just an expense if you want to be near open space and near a canyon. It's a cost. The next con is there are wildfires here, so it is something that doesn't really feel like the norm as we live here. But Chris looked it up, and there have already been 43 wildfires here in San Diego County this year, and we're filming here in July, so halfway through the year.
This is the most we had. It was more than we had last year, so it's year to year. Most of the fires were under 10 acres. I think out of those there was 11 that were over 10 acres, so pretty small, all throughout different parts of San Diego County. So some of these are way out in the East County, some are very tiny, some are obviously a little bigger. There was actually one kind of in a weird spot, which is over in Del Mar. You don't see that too often where you have those coastal fires, but it has been a pretty active fire season this year so far.
So this isn't something we live in constant fear of here in San Diego, but it is something you have to think about. We do get Santa Ana winds, which is normally our winds come off the ocean. That's why we get those great coastal breezes. But sometimes we'll get the winds coming from the mountains and the deserts, which is hot and it's dry and is perfect fuel for fire. So those are the times where you kind of have to think about it a little bit more. The fall time is a little bit more active than active with bigger fires, just because those conditions are stronger. So SDG&E over the last handful of years has put together a program where they cut power, especially if they're in areas where they still have wood power poles, so there are no down lines or anything like that when you have high winds. So these are just things that you have to kind of keep in mind, kind of be aware of, have your supplies ready and all that, just like you would have to if you were living in a place that had some other kind of natural disaster.
Another con with living right here is we don't have a ton of new construction, but their new construction that they are building, a lot of the places that they're building, a lot of the areas that they're building, it's just like infill. So you might have a community. So we did a vlog over in Escondido not too long ago, and this community used to be the Escondido Country Club. Now it's called Canopy Grove, which is a brand new, not brand new, it's probably a few years ago, but it's a new construction community along the golf course. There's another one off the 15 freeway that they're building in a new community. So like literally these people used to have a golf course view. Now they're looking into a house. So a lot of the new construction, even smaller, like within the city of San Diego, there have some incentives where you could basically take a single family home, depending on how it is, where it is, the size of it, all that kind of stuff, and potentially build an extra number of units on it, not just like one ADU. There's somebody I follow on Instagram, and he took a lot just in the middle of a residential neighborhood, right? And it was, kept the single family home up front, just remodeled it, and in the backyard, or the old backyard, there's like 4 brand new studio apartments. So these 2-story things that are in the backyard. So just as you're looking at homes, like you probably won't see this too much in suburban neighborhoods, but some of the other neighborhoods maybe that don't have HOAs, that don't have protection for the open space around, you potentially could see that. And another thing, even that too, some areas you will see, like I'm just thinking South Oak, because my sister lives up there. They recently did this to their backyard where you have these bigger lots, and they built this, it's
Huge.
It's a big old ADU in the backyard. So where they have, they're able to rent it out and all that kind of stuff, but it takes a big portion of their land. The people behind them used to have an ocean view. Now it's a little bit blocked. As they're trying to just get more homes with the limited number of land we have, these are some of the options that San Diego has come up with. And so just as you're looking at different areas, just something to keep in your mind, like could they potentially build here? And we might not always have the answer, but we could research and figure out, what city you're in, what the rules are, all that kind of stuff. Do the research and dig in and find those answers for you.
So if you are thinking about moving out to San Diego, it's never too early to get that conversation started. We love when you reach out to us. We're the ones that answer the phone calls, texts, emails. Our information's popping up right there. And let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's chat through any questions you might have, show you some areas, kind of get you dialed in so you can start planning your move to San Diego.